You are listening to the Legends Lingo podcast, brought to you by CouchGuySports.com. With your host, Al.
Buddy, you were targeted 6 times, you caught 2 receptions, and did nothing else.
Powder.
Yes, sir.
And Fiesta.
He hasn't done jack. They've won 1 cup and they made a lot of playoff appearances. But he is a snake, an oily snake. He's a crook.
Enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Legends Lingo Podcast, episode 112, presented by Couch Guys Sports. As always, check out everything at CouchGuySports.com. From the blogs, to the podcasts, to the Twitch channel, to the YouTube channel, everything else in between. We have a lot of good stuff going on at Couch Guys Sports. A lot of good stuff going on in Boston sports right now. We're going to get into that. I'm your host, as always, Alan Hegian. Alongside me tonight, we have Tom Powder Cadmus. Powder, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great, especially with how the Patriots are doing right now.
So Powder sort of gave it away. It's going to be a very Patriots-heavy episode. NFL free agency. The tampering period started on Monday. So we're recording Tuesday, March 16th at about right about 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. March 17th, the deals can actually start being signed. So that's going to be great. We are continuing our co-host tryouts. Last week, we had Diego Galvis on with us, a great episode. We have another Couch Guy Sports writer and podcaster with us. He is the host of the brand new, or I should say co-host, one of the co-hosts of the brand new fantasy baseball podcast on Couch Guy Sports, High Heat Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is Kevin Perdios. Kev, did I say your last name right? I always want to make sure.
Oh, yeah. One of the few people that can actually say it right.
Awesome. Hey, listen, I'm in the same boat with my last name. It's a tough one. But Kevin Perdios on the show tonight, longtime Couch Guy Sports writer. You've been here since the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Quags got me while we were still in college, really. So just ran the idea by me. I loved it, and he hasn't been able to get rid of me since.
We're happy to have you. We're happy to have you on. If you have not checked it out yet, High Heat Fantasy Baseball Podcast, Kevin Perdios, Matt DeRozier. Kevin, just real quick plug before we get into everything. Where can people find your podcast?
It's on Spotify and iTunes. It's, we're off to a great start, guys. We check it out if you're a big fantasy football, baseball guys. Football's on the mind, that's where my mind's at. Yeah. iTunes and Spotify, and it's a great show, and send us your feedback of how much you guys hate it, and we'll make sure to incorporate that into a show. All right.
Sheesh, I've never heard someone put down their podcast as much as Kevin just did. Powder, you believe that?
I know.
We don't even put down our podcast that much.
I know. We don't.
And us idiots decide to have 112 episodes.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta keep them on the toes, man. All right. I can't be all positive. You gotta throw them a little curveball, see how they adjust to it.
Love it. So before we get into all the football stuff, the three of us are all baseball guys. We're all baseball coaches. We all love the game of baseball. So we're just going to talk a quick baseball segment for about 5 minutes. LeBron James is part owner of the Boston Red Sox. Now, if you need to rewind that, you can rewind it and listen to it. Hit the little 15 seconds back button if you're listening on iTunes, and listen to that again. LeBron James, yes, the NBA LeBron James, is now a part owner of the Boston Red Sox. This is nuts. Like, I saw this today. Someone put it in our Legends Lingo group chat, our former co-host Fiesta. Love you, Fee. He sent it to us, and I was kind of like, huh? Like perplexed. I don't know what you guys think about this. I guess, Powder, I'll start with you, then I'll go to you, Kev. But, to me, it's like, what does LeBron want to do with the Boston Red Sox, especially when he flip-flops his fandom between being a Cleveland baseball team fan and then a Yankees fan? It's ridiculous. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but just real quick, Powder, go ahead to start.
It's from everything I read, he doesn't have a huge chunk in it. So he just bought into the Fenway Sports Group so he could have another ownership. So I don't think he's going to have a huge say in everything that goes on, but just having his name there and he could give his ideas on a way to run it that kind of makes it a little bit better. But like I said, I don't think he has a huge piece in it. So say isn't as valuable as like John Henry and those guys who have a lot bigger of a stake in it. But just having him around will will be good to just have that influence and his different ideas, how run it, giving his different background and everything.
Sign Anthony Davis to the bullpen. No, LeBron, this is baseball. I'm telling you, it's gonna work. Bring in Anthony Davis. No, LeBron. No, don't do that. That's not the right sport. Anyways, Kev, you're a big baseball guy like Powder and I are. Your quick thoughts on it?
Yeah, same type of thing. What? Wait, did I just read that right? But I think whether it be a small percentage or a huge percentage, I think it's just a name that draws, whether it be free agents or just people he knows. Everyone loves the guy, apparently, in the sports world, the athlete world. So, sure, why not? What I said earlier while we were talking before, maybe he gets us away from this analytics BS that's just killing the game of baseball. And again, if he can draw a couple free agents here, big name guys, I'm all for it. Why not? I don't see the harm in it.
I think they should go get that guy in Los Angeles, Mookie Betts. I've heard he's pretty good.
Yeah, I heard I heard he's a pretty good baseball player. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard he won an MVP back in 2018. I just heard through the grapevine. I heard that might be a good one to get. Yeah, maybe try to get Trevor Bauer here. Maybe he could go get Mike Trout too while he's at it. Just go get everybody. That's how baseball works, right?
Yeah,
Just shout
exactly.
them out. Exactly. Just real quick, Kev, before we move into the major part of our show, which is obviously going to be Patriots free agency news, Powder and I sort of gave our predictions for what we think are going to be, the Red Sox record this year. What do you have the Red Sox record being?
Oh, man.
Just way too early prediction.
They get 93 wins.
93 wins?
Gary Richards is going to be dominant. All right,
93?
so we're gonna be 5 games over 500 going into the All-Star break. Come out of the All-Star break, we're gonna get Chris Sale back. We're gonna be set, rolling with the 5-man rotation. All right, we'll see where it goes. 93 wins is probably high. All right, I'm just I'm riding high, man. All right, can I give or take 3?
Sure, we'll give you 90. We'll give you 90.
All right, 90.
We'll cut you a break. Powder, 93 wins. I can't believe they came out of Kevin's mouth. Oh my goodness.
I'm buying in. I'm buying into everything that is going on right now. I think they're building a cast of characters that that want to win.
Yeah.
Bottom line, Kike Hernandez is better than people ever give him credit for. He's going to be a legit dude. Now JD Martinez is probably going to bounce back. He admitted that he stunk last year and didn't care, which was a huge red flag. But
yeah,
I'm buying in. I think our pitching is going to be better, and we'll go from there.
True. Powder, we need to figure out a way to come up with clips and everything, because I want to clip what Kevin said and put that on our Twitter page, because that is an all-time quote for this show, and I love it. Kevin immediately making a difference. Hell yeah, Kevin.
Yep.
Oh man. But before we completely get off of baseball, I want to ask you two something really quick. So this is for both of you. Is there any better feeling in the world than freshly mowed grass at the ballpark on opening day?
No, sir.
No,
not at all. Well, how about freshly groomed balls? Because our sponsors, that's right, Legends Lingo Podcast is brought to you by our sponsorship at Manscaped. Legends Lingo, sponsored by Manscaped. We're the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming. They're here to help you strike out your bush for good. It's a whole new balls game, folks, and Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million people worldwide. Join the movement. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code LLP at manscaped.com. I'm telling you right now, these products, they are not a joke. They're so easy, and I have all the confidence in the world with the best tools for the job at Manscaped. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has spent 18 months. That's a year and a half, folks. They put a lot of time into this, perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, which is the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer. Because of their ceramic blade and advanced skin-safe technology, your snags will be reduced with a close shave. The Lawnmower 3.0 is simply the best hygiene tool for the modern man or woman. and it hits the sweet spot in every way for my balls. The Perfect Package 3.0 also comes with the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. It is time to keep your testes fresh and clean, as Powder has the preserver right up there. There you go, Powder. Show the packaging, show the labeling. We love that. The Crop Preserver is an anti-chafing ball deodorant to keep your balls from sticking to your leg from end to end. What a curveball from the norm when I'm at the ball game. This stuff is legit. The Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls, and it's made with soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts that will give your balls a boost. Manscaped even threw in their shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. Speaking of comfort, by the way, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs are also included and will bring your boxer game to the next level. Complete your top-to-bottom grooming game with the new refined cologne signature scent by Manscaped. With the same signature scent that's in all of Manscaped's formulas, this cologne is a perfect complement to the collection as Powder holds it up for us. Whether you're going on a date, Kevin, you might want to be going on a date with your girlfriend. Might want to spray some Manscaped cologne on, give you that little extra touch. And talk about the ultimate utility man, because Manscaped is like the Mike Trout of ball trimmers. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code LLP at manscaped.com. Hit the balls out of the park this season with the Manscaped Perfect Package 3.0. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code LLP at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off, free shipping at manscaped.com. Use that promo code LLP because baseball's back, boys. Do not let your pubes get out of whack. And by the way, we're going to tease this out now. We have a new sponsor coming in the month of May.
Yes,
we're not going to
sir.
say who it is just yet, but we are going to have a new sponsor for the month of May, and we thank them. It's already in the works, so we're excited for that monthly sponsorship. But boys, it's time to talk Patriots because man, oh man, did Bill Belichick drag his you-know-what across the entire NFL and said, watch me work. He put his beer down and said, hold my beer, watch me go. Second day of free agency. And these are all of the moves that the Patriots have done so far. Okay, this is just so far. This is only 2 days in. Tight end Jonnu Smith from Tennessee, 4 years, $50 million. Wide receiver Kendrick Bourne from San Francisco, 3 years, $22.5 million. Wide receiver Nelson Aguilar from the Las Vegas Raiders, 2 year, $26 million. Edge rusher from Baltimore, Matthew Judon, 4 years, $56 million. They re-signed Dietrich Wise, 4 years, $30 million. They got defensive tackle Devon Godchow, 2 years, $16 million from Miami. Defensive end and defensive tackle Henry Anderson on a 2-year deal. Safety Jalen Mills from the Philadelphia Eagles, 4 years, $24 million. They re-signed special team guy Justin Bethel, 3 years, $6 million. And that was all in the first day. That was all in the first day of free agency. And we're like, if Bill Belichick was like, okay, that's good for today, let's see what happens in the draft, I would have been like, okay, pretty good free agency. Nope. He decides to go out and not only get one of the best tight ends on the market, he gets the second best tight end in the market and signs Hunter Henry from the Chargers to a 3-year, $37.5 million deal. So if you count that up, that is 10, I believe that's 10 signings and re-signings. And the craziest part of all, they're still not done yet. Like, I am exasperated right now. This team was so unwatchable in 2020. They were setting up for this offseason. They knew they had the cap space. They knew they needed a lot of holes addressed. And boy, did they address a lot of them. So I want to kick it to Kev first, and then I'm going to kick it to Powder after. First of all, just thoughts on the signings as a whole, and did any one of them really stand out to you at all?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think every New England sports fan was just, wow. Like, what just happened? And especially the timing of all the signings was just kind of like, hold on a minute. Hold on, this is too much to intake right now. I need to take a step back. Completely not the Patriots way. Not we're used to them going to wait for like the final day of free agency, sign someone to like a 1-year deal, and then all of a sudden that one guy just takes off, right? completely flip the script. I love it. I'm here for it. Criticism or not, I'm in. I love what they're doing. I think it's the way to do it, way to puncture or fill the holes that you may have. The one that stood out to me, two come to mind, right? Obviously, once we got Smith, once we signed Smith, I kind of thought that was our tight end. We're going to roll with the two rookies and then Smith. Hopefully Smith can kind of teach them how to play tight end. But so obviously leads right into Hunter Henry. It's kind of like, wait a minute, what? We got both of them? So I'm a big Hunter Henry guy. I loved watching him when we played the Pats, when he played the Pats. I'm a big fan of him. I'm glad he's here. I think he's going to be a huge addition. And then the other one that kind of flew under the radar because it wasn't, no one that I saw on Twitter or anywhere had the Pats signing him. They all were on the other top receivers in the market.
Mhm.
Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah.
I really like the guy. I know he drops the ball a lot or whatever, but over the course of his career, he's literally played almost every wide receiver position, whether it be in the slot. Last year, they used him deep as a deep threat. So it's kind of that perfect Patriots guy where any job you hand him, he'll be able to do it because he's done it before in the past.
And not only that, right? But here's the thing. He's not even that, unreliable.
No,
in the last 3 years, he's only had 12 drops. It's only 4 a year. That's not bad. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to bring up that one point. So go ahead.
No, I completely agree. I like the signing a lot. I think it's a very good signing. I think with the signings, you're starting to see how the Pats are gonna. I think they use Aguilar out of the slot. I don't think they use him deep threat very much, which leads us to we have a QB that can't throw a football, so let's just go 5 yards down the field and let's hope he can just put it in his hands there.
I do have some thoughts on the quarterback situation. We're going to talk about that. But Powder, overall free agency thoughts, any signings that surprised you?
Just like Kevin said, just more the Hunter Henry, like both of you have said, I thought it was done after yesterday and was pretty satisfied saying the Patriots, like Kevin said, filled the holes in everything. And then all of a sudden I have been looking at my phone while I'm working and just saw breaking news, Hunter Henry to the Pats. And I've been going Twitter or Instagram right when that happened. And I saw 98.5's Instagram post of Zoe and Bertrand, their reaction to the breaking news right when it happened. And that's basically how I felt. They were going nuts in the studio when their breaking news sound came on.
Yeah, I saw the video after. That was awesome.
It was just Bertrand going absolutely nuts was awesome to see. And just that's how I felt in the moment when I saw it. But just seeing Belichick go after some weapons, because we know after watching Patriots, their defense still was decent last year. It wasn't awful, but their offense just, you want to change the channel every time the Patriots got the ball. It was not enjoyable to watch them ever have the ball. So seeing them load up on offensive talent was exactly what we've been talking about every week since the season's ended. Just go get offensive talent, and that's what they did. And that was the best part. Just kind of, to me, every offensive signing was huge just because you see that Belichick wants to win again, and he wants to do everything to win.
And you know what? And I'm going to talk about this for a second. Tom Brady winning that 7th Super Bowl, not winning it with Bill, that was the ultimate factor, right? That was the final straw. That was definitely okay, I got to do something here. I got to make sure that this team does not get absolutely croaked when Tampa comes to town next year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys one signing. Hey, don't get me wrong. Love the Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith signings, and we'll talk a little more in detail about that. The Matthew Judon signing, an edge rusher from Baltimore. This is a guy that was a 2-time Pro Bowler. Last 2 seasons, he's been a Pro Bowler. In 2019, he had 9.5 sacks. Last year, he had 6 sacks. And this guy, by the way, just so you guys know this too, Matthew Judon, and I think it's Kendrick Bourne. I'm going to check that real quick. They're only going to cost the Patriots $12 million in cap room for 2020. Like Bill Belichick is finding ways to sign these guys, give them their money, but also stay under the cap. And don't forget, the cap is going to soar next year. The cap's going to go up again in 2022. So that's an advantage. Advantage Patriots, right?
Yeah,
Bill's being smart.
I think with the Dak signing, a lot of people have said it, and I agree that it's just hinting at there's a new huge TV deal coming. That Jerry Jones just dropped the cards on that, saying there's a TV deal. So you'll see, like you said, Al, the cap will go up after this year. A lot.
Oh, 100%. And the thing is too, like, so now we're going to talk about it. And you mentioned it, the quarterback position.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And guys, like, talk me off the ledge now. Like, just bring me back after I say this. I think the Patriots have a realistic shot of trading for Deshaun Watson. I think that's back in play. Kevin, like, I know, Kev, I know I'm crazy. It sounds, but you think about this, right? You got to think of it this way, and then I'll let you guys get, whatever you want to say about it, go for it. Miami, you got to think of it this way. Miami signed Jacoby Brissett today. So they have Tua and they have Jacoby Brissett in the fold. So they're probably going to go with Tua long term. The Texans signed Tyrod Taylor to a $12.5 million deal for 1 year. You're not signing Tyrod Taylor for that much money if Deshaun Watson's going to be sitting pretty in Houston.
Yeah.
There's no way. Jeff Howe, who's an athletic reporter, the Patriots reporter for The Athletic. Sorry, I just can't think right now. I'm so excited. He even said that you can trade for Deshaun Watson and still be under the cap. Think about that for a second. Now, the cap hits aren't great, and we talked about this on Couch Guy Sports Podcast a little earlier tonight. The cap hits are about like in the $40 million range. Big money that you're going to get hit with a cap.
Yeah.
But for Deshaun Watson for the next 7 to 10 years, wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, it's a. At some point, it's almost like you got to wake up, though. You know what I mean? And nothing's off the table, right? Because everything that's happened in the last 48 hours is completely against the Patriots' MO, the way they operate. Everything we've known for the last 20 years, last 48 hours goes completely against it, right? There's been a lot of rumors out that they're going to trade N'Keal Harry, probably going to trade Gilmore. I'm imagining there's going to be a boatload of draft picks thrown in there. So I think it's doable. I do. I just, for whatever reason, I just don't see it. I don't see them doing it. I think they can if they really wanted to and hit the, we're all in. We're winning another Super Bowl next year. Let's go. Sure. Do it. I can't see it. I can't see Bill finally being like, oh, here's all my draft picks. Here's Gilmore. Here's Harry. Here's whoever else you want. I want it to happen. I just don't see it.
Okay. So I do have something for you after, but Powder, I want your thoughts on this first.
I definitely think now Deshaun Watson's probably looking at the Patriots like, okay, that they just proved they want to go out and win, and why not? Why shouldn't I go there? Because he knows like I said earlier, the defense is good. They got a couple good defensive players, and now the offense is starting to look really good. And we already knew the offensive line was there. Like, offensive line will protect whoever is behind center. So I think it opens up the opportunity to go get a quarterback like that. I think the Belichick really wants to show that he's a mastermind behind everything and that he's as good as everybody that all Patriots fans think he is, but he wants to show the whole NFL he is. That's definitely what he needs to do, finish off this and go back and dominate the NFL again for another 10 years.
So here's the thing too, and Kevin, you kind of alluded to it, and Powder, I agree with you. Belichick wants to still prove that the Patriots can still have another, run of dominance like they have the past 2 decades before 2020. So here's my thing. If you come up with the trade package, and I'll give the guy credit here, Jared Scally, VP of Couch Guy Sports, I'll give him credit because he came up with this first, and it got me thinking. The Texans tell me if you guys agree with this statement first. The Houston Texans are rebuilding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're all in agreement there. So if you're Nick Caserio and Belichick calls you and says, Nick, here's the deal I can do for you. I'll give you N'Keal Harry, former first-round pick, still very young, still can be of value. I'll give you Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year, on the last year of his contract anyway. And he's only going to lose. You're only going to lose him. He's getting paid $7 million this year, and that could potentially go up. So you have Harry and Gilmore. If you want a quarterback, take Jarrett Stidham. He's still young enough. You can use him as a backup if you need to. And here's the kicker. I'll throw in, say, 2 or 3 first-round picks. If you're Nick Caserio, you're telling me you're not thinking while you have the phone in your hand thinking, this is a really good deal. And Deshaun doesn't want to be here. And we get a quarterback, a wide receiver, a defensive player of the year caliber corner, and 2 or 3 first-round picks. Like, maybe the Patriots don't do that, but if they want to win now and they want to do it, I can't see the Texans saying no to that.
Yeah, I'll counter with this, right? I'll ask you guys this. Is Jarrett Stidham an NFL starter?
Right now, no. Absolutely not.
No.
So Nick Caserio is here, right? Don't you think that as well as that could benefit them, that could hurt him as well? He knows what Belichick's thinking. He's been in the room with him for years, right?
Yeah.
So if Belichick at one point's like, hey, Stidham's just not a dude, he's not a guy that is going to be a starter in this league.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden he's on the other end of the phone. Bill, you said it yourself. This dude's not an NFL starter. Now, do I think he is? I think he will eventually, yes. I don't think he's got a fair shake. But that's a different conversation.
Okay.
While that may help it could also go the other way.
Okay, so here, Kevin, to counter your counter. Sorry. But take Stidham out of the equation then. Trade Harry, trade Gilmore, and trade the picks.
But so trade Harry, trade Gilmore, and trade the picks, right?
Yep.
Gilmore's gone.
Right.
Harry, same thing. They've seen this dude. They're like, can he play football? Is he a number 1 receiver?
But he's only had a year and a half, don't forget. He was injured for the first half of his rookie year. Keep that in mind.
So you're what it's coming down to is 3 picks. Great start. I think for Deshaun, it starts any conversation. 3 picks starts it. Then you're adding in Gilmore, who's leaving. You're not going to re-sign him. A rebuilding team's not going to re-sign Gilmore, right? It just doesn't make sense. Now you're throwing in N'Keal Harry, but who's throwing him the ball? Who's giving? You've seen what he does.
Tyrod Taylor's throwing him the ball.
So you're putting N'Keal Harry with another crap bag QB. What's he going to give you?
Yeah, I do. So here, I'll give you a different hypothetical away from Deshaun Watson. And Powder, I want your immediate reaction when I say this first.
Okay.
The number 15 pick and Gilmore to Miami for the number 3 pick. And then you can draft Zach Wilson out of BYU.
I would do that. That would get you a young quarterback that I think can start right away. And obviously Gilmore, I want him to stay Patriot, but I don't. We've talked about it before in the past couple of weeks. I don't see him being a Patriot at the start of the next season. So he's gone anyway. So why not go all in and try and get that pick and get a young quarterback who can start right away?
Okay, how about you, Kev?
Yeah, I'm in because my thinking behind this is I'd rather see them, and this is we're gonna tie right back into the conversation we just had. Unless you're trading for Deshaun Watson, I would rather see them draft a guy. And I think the 1-year signing of Newton proves that I do think they're either going to trade up or at 15, they're going to take a guy, a QB.
So this is going to sound a little weird, but I'm almost under the impression that Cam Newton was a signing of insurance.
Yeah.
Because you brought in all this talent now. You brought in Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. You brought in the 2 tight ends with Smith and Henry now. You have weapons to throw to. You still have a great running back I shouldn't say great, but you have a very good running back in Damian Harris. And you still have Jacoby Myers. Hopefully Julian Edelman's healthy. So now you start to have weapons. But the thing is, my thinking is that if they were truly invested in Cam, they would have given him a longer deal. They would have given him like a 2 to 3 year deal, even if it's a 2 year with a team option for the second year. But they're not doing that. They signed him to a 1 year deal last year. They signed him to a 1 year deal this year with, by the way, the incentives on that contract are the only reason he'd make up to $14 million. So I doubt he's going to hit them. So he's still going to be single digits.
I mean,
as far
even
as getting paid.
if you think about it, right? If he hits those, we had a good year. Like what those incentives are is we're in the playoffs. He's back to Cam of whatever his rookie
15.
year was, 15.
Yeah, or 15, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's a win-win. This is why I think they draft a guy, because what if week 5 rolls around and it's Cam, we gave you the weapons. We have a solid running back core. We have tight ends. We have receivers. What's your excuse now?
There is none.
Where's your excuse? Now all of a sudden, hey Cam, hit the road, like sit on the bench, whatever. Then if you draft a guy, and especially if you trade up into the top 5 and you get one of those stud QBs that's expected to be ready to play right away, how don't you start him?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I could see this situation. I could see a situation, right, guys, where it's almost similar to the Cleveland Browns back in 2018. When they drafted Baker, number 1 overall, they had Tyrod Taylor in as their starting quarterback. Yeah. And then when Tyrod went down, Baker came in and he never lost a starting job again.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying we're going to get, like, Baker Mayfield's a good NFL quarterback, and he got better. He took a step in 2020. But if you draft a guy like Zach Wilson, or if you believe in a guy like Trey Lance or whatever, whoever you believe in, you're not getting Trevor Lawrence. That's just not going to happen.
No.
But if you get a guy and you believe in him and he actually pans out, here's your quarterback for the next 10 years. And I got one more hypothetical situation for you guys. Let's say Deshaun gets traded to San Francisco. Let's just say, throw it out there. He gets traded to San Francisco. He becomes the starter. Mr. Garoppolo becomes available for a trade.
Yeah. Theoretically, yes. But it's the same thing if we were going to trade for him. You got to include a QB, right? There's got to be a QB involved in that trade package going back to Houston. That's what I think. So Jimmy G is going to be involved in that trade, I think. Would I want Jimmy G back? Yes, because I think Bill Belichick would, stick his finger on his nose and I just won with my guy that I had 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whatever it may be, that you all forced out and I just won with him. That would be the ultimate, what?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
But again, Kevin, if the 49ers did end up getting Watson, then he wouldn't need a quarterback in the trade. And you could just trade him for a 4th or 5th round pick. He was only worth a 2nd last time. So now you can trade for 4th or 5th round. Powder, any insight that you want to give us?
I think it's going to end up, the Patriots going to end up drafting a guy. That's what I get. Like you guys both said about Cam Newton being his insurance plan. I think as much as he wants to be a starter, I think if the Patriots give him a chance, but they draft a guy and Cam's just not playing well, I think Cam would be a good leader and a good mentor to someone if he realizes, okay, maybe I really don't have it anymore. They've given me 2 chances and I've faltered at both, and they drafted a young guy and now he's starting. I think Cam will take more of a leadership role and mentor the guy and get the guy ready to be a great starting quarterback. And I think the Patriots, if they want to go all in, they should trade up and get in the top 5 to get one of those studs that we know can win at the NFL level.
And you need somebody that's going to carry this team for the next decade.
Yeah.
There's a reason Cam, like I said before, there's a reason why Cam has signed for these 1-year contracts. If he is here, unless he balls out in 2021, then you give him like a 2-year deal. Unless he balls out, this is going to be his last year in New England.
Yeah,
because definitely. Now, like Kevin said, and I think, Kevin, you hit the nail on the head. He has the weapons now. He's got the tight ends. He's got some speedy receivers. Edelman's going to hopefully be back. Jacoby Myers took a step in the right direction. The offensive line, pretty good. And I still say re-sign David Andrews because good for Joe Thuney for getting paid by Kansas City. So my whole thing is so far so good, but there's 3 things you need left, and you can go get all of them. You need the quarterback. You can go get him via trade or the draft. You need another wide receiver. And there's a couple wide receivers that I want to ask you guys about in a second. Re-sign David Andrews to solidify that line. Because then you would have, in no particular order, Trent Brown, Isaiah Wynn, David Andrews, Michael Onwenu, Shaq Mason. That's a very, very good offensive line.
Yeah.
So
Brick wall.
literally a brick wall. You want to try to get around Trent Brown, 6'8", 360? Have fun with that. You're gonna be on your butt real quick. So the top, I don't want to say top 3. I say it very loosely, but there are 3 really good wide receivers still in the market. Kenny Galladay, Juju Smith-Schuster, and I just drew a name blank. Curtis Samuel. Out of those 3, do the Patriots end up getting one of them? And if so, who is the most realistic option that the Patriots would get?
You can go, Kevin.
Man, I want to say most realistic, and I'll give you a reason why. Most realistic, I want to say Juju, because for whatever reason, I think his value is low. Right? People look at him and they don't see him. They see what he's done the last year or two, and they're like, oh, this dude's on the decline. He's whatever it may be. So I think that's the most realistic way you get back to that Patriots way type of deal. Oh, look what we have here. You can come here and compete right away. You have other receivers around you, so you're not going to be double coveraged, whatever it may be, right? You're the guy. You're one of the guys, But goes back to why I was surprised initially with one of the initial signings I was surprised with was Aguilar, right? The whole way was Curtis Samuel. Patriots are clear front runner. My question is, does that go away? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't either. I think he's still. If he wanted to come here before these signings, why wouldn't he want to come here now?
I know.
So I think most realistic was Juju because of the money, which salary cap's a joke now. I guess it's just not a thing.
Oh, it is. You're right.
So most realistic is Juju. Who do I think who I want to end up here is Curtis Samuel. I think that dude's a baller, and I think he's been overshadowed or whatever you want to call it in Carolina, without a doubt.
Powder?
I would love to see Juju, like everything Kevin said, just want to second it. I just think he's a talent, and because of kind of his on-field antics, dancing on logos and all that stuff, I think a lot of teams are like, why would I want him? He might not be the best player in the locker room, where I think Belichick's like, okay, I've done it with how you can't even count how many players he's taken into the Patriot system, and they become like, they just if they buy into Patriots way, you just see them succeed in the Patriots way, like a Randy Moss or something like that. Obviously, Juju's not that talented, but he could be the number 1 wide receiver here and really make a difference on this team. And if he wants another chance to win, I think this is where he should come, because he's just looking around now. He's like, okay, the Patriots want to win. Like we've talked about all episode, the Patriots are starting to look like they're all in to win now. And Juju's probably like, okay, I'll go there for short money, and maybe he has a revamp of his career where maybe he only takes a 1 or 2 year deal and he plays the right way, kind of keeps his head on straight, and he can earn more money after that deal. But he comes and wins a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and then he goes out and gets big money.
So here's my thinking. I think we all can agree Kenny Galladay is not going to end up being a New England Patriot. There's no way. especially with Matty P running the show and the personnel like upstairs, you know how much the Lions hated playing for Matt Patricia. So he's not coming here. Matthew Stafford literally said, send me anywhere except New England. He kind of looks foolish now, doesn't it? With all these weapons, he kind of looks like an idiot, but he's living it up in LA. So he can't be too mad about it. But anyways, so Galladay, I think, is out. Curtis Samuel, I think people are starting to not overrate, but they're starting to think that he's going to get big money. The guy I want is Juju. And Powder, you can attest to this. I have been like kicking the tires on get Juju here to New England. I think he'd be a great fit. He's played in bad weather before in Pittsburgh, plays for another great coach in Bill Belichick. He obviously now will have somebody to throw him the ball, and he won't be the only weapon. Pittsburgh, I think, is going to be taking a big step down, especially when Big Ben retires. And Pittsburgh doesn't have the money to sign him. The only other team, there's two teams I have in mind. The Jets are a team I think that will be aggressive, but then again, they also just signed Corey Davis the other day, who I thought the Patriots could realistically get, but whatever. So the Jets signed Corey Davis. The only other team that I could see really competing for him, and this is going to come as a surprise, I think a team like the San Francisco 49ers might try to make a run at him. They might try to. They might need a receiver.
Yeah.
Try to get Jimmy or whoever the quarterback is another receiver, because that defense is going to be good with Nick Bosa being back. George Kittle's going to be healthy. So I'm not saying he's going to end up there, but I don't think he's going to end up in Miami. I really don't at this point, but I could be very wrong. Knock on wood, as I just did. But as long as he doesn't end up in the AFC East, unless it's with the Patriots, then whatever. But I still think you re-sign Andrews, go get the quarterback via trade or whatever, sign a wide receiver. Like, get me to September. For real. Get me to training camp. Because then this team is going to be so much fun to watch. Period. Any final thoughts on the first couple of days of free agency before we sort of wrap up everything?
Yeah, keep it going. Let's just come on.
Yeah,
Feed
keep it
me
rolling.
more. Yeah, feed me more. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling here. No, but I'm excited for the year. I think even if we have to open our first game of the year tomorrow, I'm excited to watch this team play. I think we're a much better football team now. I think, instead of whatever we're 7-9, we're 9-8, whatever. But
yeah, because of the other game, right?
Right.
Because of the added game.
Yeah. I think we're a 10-win team right now as it is. I think all around we're better, but I do think we're add that one or two guy, draft that QB, add another receiver, and get me to the playoffs again. Once you're in the playoffs, Bill Belichick, get in. Yeah, get in, whether it be wild card or whatever, get in, and then it's a whole different game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Powder?
No, I was a little shocked when I knew the Patriots would spend, but I did not know it would be something like this. And it's just exactly what I wanted to see as a Patriots fan. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what the rest of the offseason brings, and especially once it comes draft time, see what Belichick has up his sleeve for the draft.
Way too early regular season record for the Patriots with 17 games. I had 11-6. Now keep in mind, they're playing the AFC and NFC South this year. So they got the Bucks, they have the Panthers, they have the Saints, who Drew Brees just retired. Great career. Thank you for everything, Drew Brees. And then they also have the Falcons. And then obviously they have the Texans. I think it's the Texans, the Jaguars, the Colts, and then the Titans. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure? Yeah, that sounds about right. So, and obviously you have the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins twice. And I think that other game, they're playing like Cleveland, and then they're playing Dallas, I think, too. But the complete schedule isn't out yet. So I got 11-6.
Yeah, I'm not far behind you. The way you were just listing off those teams initially before you listed them off, I wanted to go 10-7. Now you list those off, and it's like, who are you losing to?
Yeah.
Who are you losing to out of those teams? I mean, if Deshaun Watson's not there anymore, right?
Yeah.
I think just to change of pace, I'll stick with the 10-7, but I do think that 11-6 is very much in play.
Oh yeah. Powder?
I'm going to say 10-7 just because having Cam as a quarterback right now, if we were
Yeah.
to start right now, then I think 10-7. But I think you draft a quarterback or you get someone else at quarterback, then I think it's 11-6, if not 12-5.
Wow. Okay, so we're going pretty high. And
Yeah.
as the season comes along, we're going to try to get Patriots people on here to talk with us about the Patriots season, what to expect. We'll do our predictions before the season starts and everything else. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this week. Again, a very Patriots-heavy episode. Kev, I know you're a baseball guy, but you came on here. You talked football with us, a little bit of baseball, but a lot of football. Very well done. So, little golf clap for you. Golf clap, golf clap, golf clap, golf clap.
Thank you.
Very good. Kev, you want to just throw out your social media again, then your podcast again really quick?
Yeah, so my social media on Twitter and Instagram, if you want to do that, is at Perdios, PERDIOS 9595. All right. Both Instagram and Twitter. Shoot me a follow, whatever. And then High Heat Podcast will be recording tomorrow. Give it a follow, give it a listen. It's fun. It's different than the typical fantasy baseball podcast. It's a good time. It's a good time for sure.
It's a good time. Everything else,
Love
the Couch Guy is a good time. We're going to have some changes coming. We have some new stuff that's going to be happening with the Twitch channel, new stuff happening with the podcasts. Everything is looking in a positive direction for Couch Guy Sports in 2021. Couch Guy Sports to the moon.
Yes, sir.
But if anything else for episode 112, we got Kevin Perdios, we got Tom Powder Cadmus. I am Alan Nahigian. Once again, couchguysports.com and Manscaped, 20% off and free shipping with the promo code LLP. 20% off and free shipping. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to episode 112. We'll see you next week for episode 113.
Yes, sir.